Hey there, folks, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts number 374 Smarter Robots. I'm Exterminator, and thank you for joining me again this week. Last week was a banger, obviously, awesome news on the expansion, and every week from that point forward, including this week and all the weeks probably for about the next year or so, we are going to be getting weekly Friday Facts giving us more and more information about the expansion every week, which is fantastic. Having the Friday Facts kind of embargo lifted has been awesome to hear. And we're going to get into this one. And this one is Smarter Robots. Now, for some people, this maybe is not super interesting because you were looking forward to like new expansion things, specific to the expansion part of the game. But those will come. For me, this is actually super exciting. And Coverx here actually kind of goes into why this is still really important, even if it's not super flashy. Yeah, basically just says, that this is quote unquote, touts just a quality of life improvement. But the thing is they have to get these mechanics and QOL things, solid and working well and how they want them as a foundation so that they can build the other new things on top of that. If there's something they want to fix, like the robots, for example, they want to get that done and showcase that and stuff before they start adding things on a, maybe not super functional aspect already. Now, robots are functional, of course, but that's kind of this whole section here. So, Smarter Robot Tasks by Oxide. Logistics and construction robots have been in the game for a while, and at their core, they are fairly simple entities. So, a logistic robot, for example, and mostly to a degree, construction robots work the same way. Basically, may be told to go pick up an item from a chest and deliver it to another chest. So far, so good, but in Factorio, there is usually more than one item to be transferred. So what does the game do when tasked with transferring, say, 500 items from one box to another? And this is where we see a problem. So they say the old way, currently, basically, before the expansion in 1.1, how it works is it looks for free robots that don't have a task, right? So idle robots, essentially. And it will pick one to transfer like the first item, and then that leaves you with 499 other items, and then it will take a different robot that's also idle and take an item. We're down to 498, etc., etc. It's basically not reusing the robots, that have done the first task already and are free and have been free. It's consistently using like different robots that were idle. It may reuse them just be. Not really, because it actually creates a list. They kind of go into this. So basically, they say like by the time you get to the last items, the network may have to reach for robots at the other end of the factory because there's no idle robots to perform the task. The result is that the first batch of robots will arrive at the chest, take the item, and deliver it to the destination, and then recharge and go have a nap in a Roboport. And then it's taking, it's still using the other list or whatever of the idle bots, which is a problem. And this is kind of what we see here. So we have things coming from this chest to here, and then these robots are going into the Roboport, and some are flying off. And then you see new robots. Some of these maybe came from the ones that flew off, but all these ones in the Roboports are not being used, right? And you'll see this especially in huge bot networks and huge bot network base is you do see bots like literally flying across the base when they don't have to. And this is the other reason why a lot of times, at least for game performance in mega bases, it is optimal to have separated builds with smaller networks, among other reasons for just general bot travel. But also this is one of the reasons, because if you have a small little network, like just one little build making green circuits or something, it's not that big of a deal because the thing's only so big, so it doesn't matter as much. But they are fixing this. And then they say the situation is similar for construction bots, and I experience this so much. This is actually a bigger issue for me personally, is when you go to like deconstruct stuff or you go to place blueprints with your personal bots, it will use all of your bots in your Roboport, and let's just say you have one Mark II Roboport, that's 25 bots. But then for all the other tasks, it's going to pull bots from the main network, even though your first 25 can finish this in like 3 or 4 seconds. You can see they just go back because the tasks have already been assigned to robots elsewhere in your network. So this is the current way. This is how it works, and this is why there's some issues with it. The new way, they basically say choosing a robot for a task only from the list of idle robots clearly isn't the best strategy. Assigning a task to the robot is currently busy, but nearby may be a better choice, which is kind of what we just discussed. Even if the new task may have to wait until the robot finishes its other task. So this required two main changes. The first change was to allow robots to have multiple tasks, because currently they don't. They did have to rewrite quite a bit of code and stuff to get it done, but after some refactoring and such, they did get that implemented. Second, they need a way to select a robot for a task. So each task has a starting position. For example, a decon order starts at the entity to be deconned. Until now, the selection process was simple. Just select the idle robot close to that point. But now, when we can also select a robot with one or more queue tasks, the process becomes a bit more complex. So basically, with the new system, they base it on arrival time. So this is going to calculate like the arrival time of an idle bot that's 5 chunks away, or compared to a robot that's right on top of you but has 1 or 2 tasks queued, and it's going to calculate the time to finish those tasks. And if that's faster than the time it would take for the other robot 5 chunks away to fly over, it's still going to use your close robot. And this is a great example. You can see this is the same setup we have up here, but using the new method, and you can see the bots are just flying between the two chests, which is what you would want ideally, right? I mean, obviously they may have to go charge, but they're not, cycling out new bots. So this is awesome. This is ideal. This is actually going to help quite a lot, I think. And then for like deconning trees, they say the player's personal robots do more than just a single tree. So robots from the main network still help, of course, but this time it's because they can help get the job done faster, when really that wasn't the case before. They actually slowed it down. So now we go on to performance. So having a simple list of all busy robots and going through it each time a new task comes in may work fine for small factories, but as you scale that, it becomes a performance issue. Whenever a robot's queue of tasks is updated, it calculates its final estimate, that is, its final position and the time at which it will finish. Each map chunk now stores a list of all busy robots that are estimated to finish on that chunk. So basically, when a robot updates its final position estimate, it registers itself in that chunk's list of robots. And then when the game goes to search for a robot for a particular task, the game now starts its search at the chunk where the job's starting position is located, and continues its search outward. Well, in an outward spiral, rather. So this works really well, too. It seems like maybe it's not going to be a huge game performance hit with these new, this like new pathing and prioritization is the word I'm looking for. Storing robots on chunks and searching a spiral improved the performance a lot, even with factories with tons of robots. So that's awesome. That's really good. I think that will help all robot-based production, which is fantastic. I love playing with robots. I love making robot-based builds. And there's even more to come. This is maybe not as important for like me, but this is still a really cool feature. Basically, over the last few years while they were developing, they accumulated a few more features and changes to make the robots feel smarter and work better. So now, what you can do is you can set robot requests inside of a Roboport. And this is to alleviate, like, if you, basically in this example, they are like trying to like trash units out of their auto trash or whatever, and such, or supply, I guess, in this case. So they're trying to resupply with the buffer chests and want logistic robots around to quickly empty your trash to fill your refills. It's quite annoying, though, when all the materials are right there, but you are stuck waiting around because due to natural robot migratory patterns, the robots in the area are Roboports are quite empty. So, yeah, like if there's no robots in these Roboports, you can stand here, but you got to wait for robots to fly from the other end of the map to get here to even do this, even though your chests are right here. So now what you can do is you can go into a Roboport and you can request robots here. And this is awesome. I love this feature. It's honestly something I never would have thought of personally. When I saw this morning, I was like, oh wow, that's a really cool idea. I would not have thought of that. Now to clarify, and they do clarify this, this will not request them like from requester test. This requests them from other Roboports in the network. So this is basically pulling robots from elsewhere in the network and making sure they're here. So if you have a request of 100, then once they arrive, the needs are serviced, and afterwards you can see robots arriving to get Roboport back up to 100. So this is basically going to say, like, always keep at 100 robots or more. Like, it will let more, but you're basically saying a minimum of 100 robots in this Roboport at all times. So this is super nice because you can just like have resupply areas or whatever, like especially for like building trains or whatever. You can have them come in and then have the Roboports around that train just always have a request of whatever amount of robots you want, so that the robots aren't flying from across the base just to get there, even if the materials are right there. So this is really, really great. And then another nice use of this is that they can use a robot request to remove certain robots from the network, which is also good. I have had some edge cases where this would be really useful. So let's just say that they have a mod with higher quality robots, but they want to get rid of all the old ones. Like, there's really no good way to do that without removing every single Roboport in the network currently. But you can now do that, which is fantastic, because you can just request them all to a Roboport or two and then pull them out. Lastly, we have better robot charging heuristics. So essentially, when a robot runs low on energy, it goes to charge, but they need to be a little bit smart about it. For instance, if they always chose to close a Roboport, then you would get queues and traffic jams at some Roboports while others completely empty. For these smarts, we use quite a simple heuristic, factoring in not just how close a Roboport is, but also how many other Roboports are currently charging there. So usually this worked well enough. Once in a while, you would encounter an inconvenient situation where they're still bunching up on Roboports while ignoring others, as you can see here. In some extreme cases, this is actually a big problem. Because as the robots waiting to charge still use energy for hovering, they lose energy, and then it creates a positive feedback loop where all robots who join the queue will fall at zero energy while they are waiting their turn, etc., etc. And then you have these robots moving at like snail pace trying to get to the charging, and it's just a really bad loop. It's kind of like a positive feedback loop for like when your power goes out. But basically the main problem is that the player looks at the robots and thinks these robots are dumb. And I say this pretty much every single time I stream Factorio. I have a comment like this. So I definitely understand that. So basically the issue can be helped quite a lot by just a few small improvements. So when deciding which robots what Roboports to charge at, the robots crucially did not consider the current robots on the way to the Roboport. So only those already like right in the queue to charge, and did not factor in how many free charge spots on the Roboport itself. By adding these two extra parameters into the question, the distribution of robots improves quite nicely. And again, this is also super good for robot-based builds, just more efficient use of robots, less Roboports needed, better charging, etc. And then lastly, we come, and I would say this is actually the most edge case out of all of these things. Obviously it doesn't happen, obviously it's not like it never happens, but it is kind of a situation where it would require like a specific type of base and building and situation to happen. So robots migrating, pathing over lakes. So it's been a problem for a long time where the robots seem pretty dumb when it comes to pathfinding, or they are just dumb, and try to fly to areas that have no logistic network coverage. This is because for performance reasons, we don't do any pathfinding at all. They just fly in a straight line to the destination. The major problem of this is the possibility of robots to get stuck in an infinite loop. This is because they fly out over uncovered territory, run out of battery, and return back to charging and try again, rather than actually getting to the destination. And this just becomes a loop, basically. And they'll obviously never make it. So it was notable enough and annoying enough for us that we really did want to come up with a fix. So the solution they came to was actually pretty smart. Here is usually the robot just chooses one of the nearest Roboports, which is fine for normal circumstances, but in this case leads to the robot turning completely around. So they changed the selection process so that the robot tries to always charge at a Roboport that is closer to its destination. Not necessarily just closer generally, but closer to its actual destination. And you can see, so this is the first example of what doesn't work now. And then this is what it looks like now. I mean, it's maybe not a straight line, but they do get there because they're like, oh, well, this one's closer to my destination than the ones back here, so let's go to this one instead. which I think is pretty neat. And then, yeah, it looks like some of them go here too. I was going to say, I don't know why they don't just go here, but it looks like they are going there as well. So there we go. That's the Friday Facts robot stuff. I mean, not like super flashy or anything. Nothing like no actual like new items or anything like that shown for the expansion. But you know, that's fine by me. I honestly was hoping that they would make quite a few performance improvements to the game along with the expansion, and it really looks like they're headed down that path based on this. And I'm super excited for that. I hope there's more. Man, oh man, let me tell you guys, I would be so excited if we get a Friday Facts and it's labeled fluid improvements. Oh my gosh, I would absolutely love that so much. Uh, that is like top of my wish list for things that aren't like a brand new feature for the expansion. And trains even too, to be honest. Trains are up there as well. So I'm looking forward to all future Friday Facts, honestly, regardless of if they're performance stuff or, you know, under the hood stuff or just brand new fancy features. I'm super excited. I would love to hear what you guys think. Definitely leave your thoughts down below. You know, what do you think about these improvements? You know, are they going to help in your base? They're definitely going to help in a lot of my bases. And also, I'd be interested in hearing what's kind of on your wish list for new like non new feature stuff for the expansion. So kind of just like general improvements, quality of life stuff, performance stuff. I'd love to hear about that too. If you did enjoy, a like is much appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're new, feel free to subscribe to keep up with all future content and of course Friday Facts every week. And as always, until next time, I look forward to seeing you all and do take care.